All right. Good evening, everyone. We have a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. It is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. The time is now 4 o'clock. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting is sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the City website and the City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Deputy Mayor Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember McDade.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Mullock.
Here.
Councilmember Yeager.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz.
Here.
City Manager Vol is absent. And there is one resolution on the special meeting agenda, Council. We have Resolution 316-12, 2023, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provision of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss Shustak litigation, Welcome Center lease, Park Mobile, and I believe there is the ask for the Deputy City Clerk position to be added to that, if Council is obliged.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, pardon me.
Yes.
Sorry.
Second.
Councilmember Yeager.
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer.
Yes.
Councilmember McDade.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin.
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes. Okay.
Public,
Time is
public
4:02.
portion, Mayor, do you want to?
Oh, public, anyone wishing to speak from the public? Seeing none, we can close public comment.
All right.
Time is now 4:02.
Oh, what's up? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's perfect.
That kind of cleans things up over there for that. 'Cause it's a good fit, I think, to have them over there. It just kind of cleans up things.
Yeah, that's all I want. I just didn't want to just throw them out on the streets and then come up with settlement later.
We're going to do, all council is going to do ugly Christmas sweaters for the council meeting.
Okay, yeah, I'll do
All right,
that.
Okay, all right. I told Mike I was going to make a motion.
Cool. Dennis, how you doing? Good, good.
Ugly Christmas
I
sweaters.
have one. Do you have one?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
You know I'm doing it.
Mike's doing it, I'm doing it. Yep, yep.
You know, it's so funny. I was on YouTube and I saw there was an HBC meeting. I forget what kind of meeting it was. But there's so many people with white hair. I thought they were wearing Christmas hats because of the red color behind them.
Oh, my God.
I had to look closely.
Lorraine, I'll go out and I'll get it for you. I'll get you one. Get me the thrift store. Yeah. Okay? Doesn't that sound like fun?
I didn't know they still made those.
Wait,
Those little things you put on your. Wow.
all right. Okay? Yep. Lorraine, if you want me to give you something, yeah, of course. What size do you want? Yeah. Okay, I'll text you. I'll find something appropriately ugly with big reindeer ears on it.
People may think I'm just stressing over things.
And there you go. I don't think Chris liked it. Chris was like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'll find something. Didn't show up. I'm gonna have to introduce
I'm going to stay in parties of consent. Unless we want to make it public.
Good evening, everyone. We are coming out of a special meeting in a closed session. Do I have a motion to close the special meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Titus 508.
Okay. With that, we can open up our regular work session meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May, New Jersey. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. It is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. The time is now 9 minutes past 5 o'clock. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the city website and the city bulletin board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Deputy Mayor Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember McDade.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Malik.
Here.
Councilmember Yeager.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz.
Here.
City Manager Vol is absent. City Engineer Paul Dietrich.
Here.
Council, any additions or deletions this evening?
Do we have any, council?
I believe
No?
just one presentation from HPC Chair Warren Copeland. Okay.
Council, everyone okay with doing that right after the beach tag
tags.
design?
Yes.
All right. Mayor, let me just get the monitor going for the beach tag presentation, then it's all yours, okay?
What was that? The monitor? Thank you. Okay. Okay, well, welcome. We have some special guests this evening that by the end of this summer will actually be pretty famous artists here in the city of Cape May. And it's my honor to introduce a couple of those folks. And so this time of year, we have our art contest for our beach tag, which is loved by all who come to our beaches and love to pay that beach fee and see the wonderful art that they get as a as part of that transaction. And we have 3 winners with us this evening that we'd like to announce in whatever order is on the monitor as we see here. So we'll wait. Okay, we're saving our seasonal here. So this is a big one here. So when you go to the beach this year, or even better, for a cheaper rate, getting this for Christmas prior to the season, which is a great stocking stuffer, we have this first Cape May 24 seasonal winner is Alex Mowgli. Alex, come on up. Why don't you give us a little critique of your artistic, what was your inspiration for this drawing that you did, Alex? It's the Cape May sign, right?
Yeah, do I see?
Will I still walk there, right? On Washington?
Well, exactly. I couldn't say it much better, Alex. I think you will bring joy to anyone who comes in Cape May, sees this famous sign with the bell, and we really appreciate your artwork. So thank you very much, Alex. Congratulations. And here, wait. Let's get one photo. Here's a $50 gift card. Yeah. You ready? And Alex, why don't you join us right up here? I can come to you. I can come to you. It's all right, buddy. Here you go. If you could sign that. Here, just hold that there. Okay, right here is good. Oh, good.
All right, come on in, guys.
Can you take a from the?
Absolutely. It's okay. It's all. You don't want
Just one.
Just one.
It's going to be a good one.
Good. All right. One more? Uh-oh.
Your chance.
Great job.
Good job. Congratulations. That's really cool.
You gotta be proud of your brother.
Thank you.
Congrats, Alex.
Here you go, Mayor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Great job, Alex. Okay, next one we have for our active duty and veterans tag, Abigail Dickinson. Abigail, come on up. Abigail, thank you very much. That is a $50 gift certificate. And this is a nice certificate showing what you did. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your inspiration?
I decided to do mine with the 7-star American flag since that was the first ever flag for America.
Wow, that's wonderful. Very patriotic, very beautiful. Thank you very much, and I think this will be a really lovely for the rest of this whole 24 season. So thank you very much. Can we mind if we get a photo? Great job. Great job.
Do it by yourself.
Great job.
Thank you.
Okay. And now for our weekly tag. Our winner this year is Joshua Tabler. Joshua, come on up. Congratulations, Joshua. Nice job. Here's a $50 gift certificate. Here is the certificate certifying your artwork. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, when we go to the beach, we like to look for shells, and I thought shells would show a little bit about me.
Is that a sand dollar on there?
Uh-huh.
We do not accept sand dollar as currency, but we will take it. That's great. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. Take a picture?
All right, Joshua. Hold on up. Congratulations. Good job.
Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and we do have one addition to the agenda, another really awesome one that we just received. And to present that news to us is Warren Copeland, chairman of the HPC. Warren, come on up. Oh. I'll talk.
Just 15 or 20 minutes here. Really, a few months ago, the HPC, you'll recall, came before City Council with the final version of the book and Historic Preservation Design Standards, and we asked you for your final approval and acceptance. And that book was really the culmination of a couple of years of work by the HPC members and members outside of the HPC, zoning board, planning board, and the public. At that meeting, you were very gracious, you, City Council, was very gracious in your comments and your support for this book, and it was finalized. Now, tonight, I come before you again to share a prestigious award that the Design Standards book received last week from Preservation New Jersey. And at the award ceremony, there were several historic preservation commissions in attendance, several individual preservation people, and preservation people from the state. And Cape May Historic Preservation Design Standards received the Preservation New Jersey Document Award. Several members of the HPC were there, and I accepted the award and spoke on behalf of all the people that worked so hard on this project. This was really a 2-year work effort spread over 3 calendar years to get this book done, and now it has been recognized and awarded. And we've asked that the City of Cape May be recognized on the award, and I have that to present to City Council. Maybe Larry.
Your liaison. Okay.
maybe we could hang this when you come into the main hallway here between those first two offices. There's a space, if it's not too presumptuous.
No, I think that's perfect. No, that's wonderful, Warren. And congratulations to you and everyone involved on the HPC. I know it took a ton of effort, and I've said this before, but that book, actually, I would like to put council on the spot for a second here. Given this award and how important it is to the city of Cape May, I think what we should look for in the 2024 budget is purchasing some more of these books. Maybe we find a purpose for a small fee for folks, and then dedicate that fee to a certain purpose. But I think that book is just so, and I don't want to diminish it by saying this. I've said it before, though. I think it's like a wonderful coffee top book that people should have for Christmas. I mean, it's important standards in there, but I mean, I think you read about it, you learn about the history of Cape May and the importance of maintaining your property in a delicate fashion toward historic preservation. So I think that's something that we should talk about as a council, because I know it's available on Amazon, but for so many of the residents of Cape May, that's such an important book to have. I think we should make it pretty readily accessible. So I won't put everybody on the spot, but I
I
think
was going to offer, suggest perhaps we need to talk to, I don't know that they are, maybe the Physic Estate would sell the book there, because there's many tourists who go there, would love to have something along, that to take back with them as a memory. So it might be something we could talk to Mac about, to Jody about, to see if they would stock it there.
I also think that the library should have it available for visitors and students alike. We did? Okay. Thank you, Paul.
I just add one comment, because the book was designed by a number of people, but we're fortunate. We have a strong HBC in Cape May, but it takes more than a strong HBC to maintain our National Historic Landmark city. It takes everyone, architects, builders, all the applicants, and the idea is to communicate with that audience, to get buy-in, understanding, and acceptance of what we're trying to do. And that's what this book is designed to communicate. So we would encourage people to get a copy.
thank you, Mr. Cope.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. So before we get on further with the agenda, if there's anyone who may not be interested in hearing the rest of it, if you were here for the beach tags or anything like that, please feel free to go get some dinner. Council, we can move along with updates. City Solicitor, any updates this evening? Thank you. Nice job, Alex.
Recently, I have been going back to the Shade Tree Commission with Councilman Meyer to talk about some potential changes to the tree ordinance. I think we're going to have an upcoming meeting in mid-December and hopefully get something that might be in final form for presentation to council for consideration pertaining to trees, tree applications, and the procedures for that. So Councilman Meyer's been working on that. I've been working with him on that, and hope to have something, I think, early in 2024.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, City Engineer, any updates?
Thank you. Yeah, I do have a couple things. The beach fill project, even though they're still on the Coast Guard base, they're about 40% complete there, so they're still on track to hit Wilmington Avenue Beach the first week in January. The various road projects, seems like every time there's another street that they're moving around, so I just hope that everybody has some patience during the off-season so we can get as many of these streets tied up and worked on. You'll notice that they started over on Madison Avenue this week doing the handicap ramps to get those crosswalks done on Madison Avenue at Corgi in Virginia. So that's part of a thing we're doing. The county was also changing out the speed radars on both Madison and Lafayette. today, so that they got the newer, updated ones for the county. That will allow the city to move that extra one we had on Lafayette, or Washington, off of Washington and kind of move it around to some other locations within the city. To follow up on two items from the town hall meeting, there was a lot of good questions that brought up, and I just would like to report back to council on two of the items that were discussed in there. First was the request for some pedestrian flashing lights as you came in, past the Lobster House, the Lucky Bones, and there's two crosswalks in there. Did reach out to the DOT. They are in the process of having them designed and installed. Not sure if they're going to commit to having them ready for the next summer season, but the DOT is a long process sometimes, but it is in their process, so they have started that. So that was a comment that was brought up. The other was regarding Atlantic City Electric, and I'll say their tree trimming and their overall reliability. And not that I think everybody knows what happened out in Maui County in Hawaii with that fire, but that they had concerns of that same thing happening here in Cape May with a lot of the trees that we have in the area. Talk with Atlantic City Electric. They come through every 4 years to do a tree trimming program. They work with our Shade Tree Commission and making sure it's done properly, but that is a high focus that they do because they want our customers and residents up and active with electric, so whatever they can do to make sure that if there is an emergency or down wires, that they limit how much is done. They've also installed, if you kind of see, it looks like little Wi-Fi boxes around town, has like a box with a little antenna hanging down from it. That's a box so that they can actually redirect power and close off and isolate different areas. So they can, if an emergency happens, they can close and, down different sections of the city or re-energize and keep areas open. And that's when if there's an outage in one area, they can bring some areas back quickly. But in an emergency, that allows them to kind of do the reverse. And, obviously with the upgrades at Elmira generating station and with those retractors, they can they have a good network. The final phase of that will be, commercial and residential meters going to, interconnection where they can actually have connection with your meter and eventually we'll have some of those controls to be able to, in an emergency, help isolate power in that way. So I think that we're in good shape. I think Atlantic City Electric is very concerned with reliability within our community, and I think that we're in good shape with that. We don't know what happened in Maui, but I think we're probably in a better position from an OEM standpoint to react to those kinds of situations because they thought about that during Sandy, about preemptively closing things down like that. So it's within their OEM task to evaluate those things on a fairly quick response.
That's great.
And that's really, I just wanted to follow up on those two things from the town hall. That's all I had this evening.
That's great. On to our Washington Street Mall and Business Improvement District proposed 2024 budget.
Hi, everyone. My name is Callie Zabrowski. I'm the treasurer of the Business Improvement District Board of Trustees. So this is our first draft of our budget for 2024. I actually think I have a typo in my assessment line, so I don't know if I should table this and come back next meeting. I think I overstated our expected assessments for 2024.
Your first line?
My first line.
Do you know the correct number? Not to put you on the spot, Callie, sorry.
Is this in the packet? What's the resolution? Yeah.
I think it's about 68,000 instead of 73,000. So, I mean, I can tell you a little bit about our budget and I can come back.
Yeah,
or we can-
why don't we do that? Go ahead.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So the bid board really just works on keeping the mall looking good and having people excited to be there. So there are a couple of new lines in our budget this year. We started a memorial brick program for 2023. We are ready to order our second batch of bricks to be installed. And the idea behind that was to create some extra funds to do capital improvements to the mall, which we operate really on a zero-sum budget, so we didn't have any money to do anything extra. So now we do have $92,000. We don't intend to spend all of that in 2024. We really want to plan and choose things wisely. So I think the only changes when I get the correct numbers, our future capital will probably decrease a little bit, but the rest of the numbers will stay the same. We do spend the majority of our budget on decor and maintenance, so that's all the flowers in the big planters, the hanging baskets, and then anything that goes wrong with those throughout the season.
They've really looked beautiful, especially, I mean, I don't know the
We have a-
details, but they've really looked beautiful.
We have a great landscaper who really cares about them all.
Yeah.
So, and then we are breaking out our events portion of the budget, separating it from advertising going ahead. We've really stepped up our events. We did music on the mall on Tuesdays, and then we have Santa walks around and music on the mall for Small Business Saturday. So those are two things that we would like to continue doing for 2024. Do you guys have any questions for me? And then I'll
So-
bring you real numbers in a couple weeks.
So just a quick question on the brick income.
Yes.
Do you have an estimate of how many bricks you would be putting or planning or have done
So-
so far? No?
We've installed 200 and we have another 200 orders.
Okay.
So we're ready to place our second order.
You have people have committed?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
great. So, okay.
Yes.
And do you have an approximate number that you think is doable throughout the mall? Like, where would your end game be, I guess, you know?
I don't know if there
Yeah.
is an estimation of a maximum.
Yeah.
So far, we've done one tranche on, I think it's Hill Walk next to Cassell's.
Mm-hmm.
And there's room to do a second batch there. So we're
Okay.
going to start with the
right.
walks. And then I don't know if we would continue on the mall itself
Okay.
or just do those.
That's what I was curious
Yeah.
about. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the only thing that this council has talked about at this point are the walks on the sides. So Hill Walk and then
Yeah.
the bike, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you having hospitality night this year?
Yes, hospitality night is this Friday, December 8th, from 7 to 9 p.m.
Thanks. And so we'll see you at the next council meeting to approve this, I guess?
Yes, with true numbers, and I'll get those to you guys. I looked at it just now and I was like, oh, sorry, everyone. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thanks,
Callie, if you can get that number sooner, it's just so you don't have to come back to the next meeting, feel free to kind of raise your hand and let us know. We don't mind, I don't think we have any issue with that.
Okay.
If it's only that number,
Yes, it's just that number, which is incorrect, and then I would adjust down my future
Capital.
capital number.
Right.
if
So
you'd like to do that, I don't mind calling you back up if you'd
Okay.
like, or come back, whichever.
Let me see if I can find it, and if I can, I will raise my hand.
Okay.
All right.
Fine.
Thanks,
Is that
everyone.
okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. On to ordinance, go ahead.
Sure. Ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption. This is 523-2023, an ordinance amending Section 81 of the City Code regarding the Police Department to ensure compliance of the New Jersey Police Licensure Act. And there is a public hearing tonight, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on ordinance 523, 2023? Seeing none, we can close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments on this, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
Next, we have the public portion on the resolutions only. If we'd like to open it to the public, Mayor?
Is anyone here wishing to speak on resolutions this evening? Please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. Dennis Crowley, 806 Lafayette Street, Cape May, New Jersey. Couple comments on the resolutions pending before you. The first comment, it's a question, actually. Could you explain a little bit before you vote on that resolution 318-12-23? It says meters being purchased through an educational fund, and it doesn't seem to be a nexus between those two. Could you explain how that funding and expenditure would work?
So this is a contract through a cooperative pricing system contract. So there's different ways for procurement. So the only reason, if you look at the title of it, it looks like a word salad. But
Yeah.
really, the top part of it is, the contract is with Core Maine for meter infrastructure. And the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System is the source for that contract. It's a cooperative contract.
All right, so that educational services
It could be the
is used
John
for,
Smith Cooperative Pricing System.
okay, it's not an educational fund.
No,
It's a pricing model.
correct.
Okay. And second point I had with the resolution was on Callie's resolution, 317. Amtrak has on its radar for the next couple months a discussion of the notion of these BIDs and SIDs, Business Improvement Districts, Special Improvement Districts, which are a good way for towns to provide goods and services without having to impact the budget and make things like the mall pretty nice to look at. So it's a great program. We're looking at it for two reasons. One, we want to, it's old, it's been around for a while, and we want to make sure that it's maximizing its value in terms of the membership of the bid, and also the services and goods they provide, and how the city could maybe do a stronger job in supporting some of the things that they do. Secondly, we are looking at the notion of expanding the concept BIDs and SIDs throughout the town, because it seems to us that the Beach Drive business district could profit from the same kind of thing that the Washington Mall is profiting from. And so we're looking at those two things. So down the road in the very near future, we'll be able to give you a recommendation on that. We're looking at BIDs and SIDs in other parts of the state, and also the statutory structure of how they're created and what they do. So I guess that's a heads up for you folks to look for that in the near future. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Anyone else on resolutions this evening?
Stacy Sheehan, 928 Columbia Avenue. This is just a statement with Resolution 318, and it says 66,000. I think there's a typo in that. I think it should be like 99,000, because you ordered 600 parts, 200 are back order, but the 600 parts come up to 99,000, not 66.
The invoice attached is for 66,000.
I think the problem is the invoice
Yeah.
itself given by.
So you're going to do another
vendor.
invoice when they come back with the other 200?
Yeah, we're going to have to approve a second.
Okay, and I didn't understand why it wasn't just in the bills, and why it's a resolution.
Perhaps because it's through this cooperative?
Yeah, it's because of the amount, there has to be a way to award it pursuant to the local public contracts law. Because there's a cooperative, we're a member of this cooperative pricing system, that's an avenue for us to award this.
Okay, because the next one's going to come in lower than that 44 threshold, and that's why I didn't understand.
That's the total is, it's all the same thing, so it's over the bid threshold. However, there is an avenue for award, and it's through these cooperative pricing agreements.
Okay, so you're going to do it again when the other parts come in? Okay.
Correct.
My second question has to do with the resolution 324, resolution for appointing a city manager. I asked for that resolution, and I was told that you couldn't give it to us, so I'm just asking for it to be read so that we know what the resolution is, so we can comment on it.
That's fine. At the time, it's on the regular agenda,
Well, this is comment for all resolutions.
and I'm telling you, we'll read it.
Okay, so now my question is then, before you read it then, who is it going to be?
Okay,
This is questions.
okay. Yeah,
Right, but we don't get comment on the regular agenda. We comment on all resolutions.
So hold on.
Commenting, this is the comment section now for
Excuse me, guys.
resolutions.
Ms. Sheehan, we're up here.
Okay.
And council fully intends to comment on this and they provide an explanation to you and the rest of the public about this. That's why it's on the agenda. So when we get to that, I think council is going to speak on this. And that public comment, at the end of this, you can ask any questions you want about it, and I think they'd be prepared to answer them.
Okay, so we can't ask about salary at this time?
so how about this? We'll open it up for public comment on the regular agenda once we have that. So
That's
feel
fine.
free to ask any questions.
Okay, so then my other question has to do with Resolution 323. I went through that resolution. I wasn't understanding what a parking management system was that you were talking about that is going out for bid.
So council wants to solicit competitive proposals for parking app system.
Okay.
So that's what it's for.
Okay, yeah, kind of, when you're ready, didn't understand if they were hiring a person or what it was for 5 years.
Well, if a person has an app that can fulfill that service, I'm sure we would consider it, but that's part of the nature of the proposal.
Okay, thank you.
And really, the overall purpose is simply to get the best numbers for the city.
Right, so it's more like a parking app that you're going out to bid for? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. If you would please give us an explanation of 319. Is it the intention for the city over the next few years to convert the entire fleet to battery vehicles?
Everything that can be, there's some equipment out there that can't be converted, such as, construction equipment, but anything that's possibly, we will, yeah.
And this is part of some of the grant applications that we apply for, and I believe we've passed this several times before as well.
It's also part of the state's best practices. So when we fill out the state's best practices on what we're doing and how they grade us and whether or not they're going to withhold state funding for us if we don't meet the certain things, this is obviously a large state initiative. So, that's one of the reasons why they put it in the best practices guidelines. And that's one of the things, we'll evaluate, as they said, council said, on each type of vehicle when we go out there, whether or not it's reasonable, reliable, in the best interest to do it. But we have to make that evaluation if there's a green, to purchase I'll say the most fuel efficient, greenest vehicle that we can. May not always be electric, but if we have to buy a gas vehicle, maybe we try to buy the most fuel efficient gas vehicle or a hybrid or something like that. But it's just an evaluation process.
I would hope that as we get into this, as the vehicles come online in the city, that we monitor those, because quite frankly, there's not enough experience in this country to evaluate battery vehicles versus combustion vehicles. And I know from my experience of traveling for 10 years with a car, trailer, and boats that were in and out of salt water, the maintenance cost is extremely high. The replacement is extremely high. And although you might be able to get a grant to buy or lease a piece of equipment, the cost to maintain that piece of equipment may be something that you want to really consider. And quite frankly, I don't think the country has the experience yet with battery vehicles to make a strong movement in that direction. So I would caution the city as they proceed to be really diligent in that effort, because these pieces of equipment, when they decide to fail, if it's an ambulance as an example, and I don't think, frankly, we should ever go to battery with an ambulance, because that equipment has to be sitting, running, and effective immediately and not have to worry about it.
And
Thank you.
If I could, just kind of piggybacking on what you said, in that's Exhibit A that it discusses those emergency vehicles. Some of them need power takeoffs, so you do need to still have those combustible engines to do that. But I think the intent of this is really to provide cleaner alternatives from what we currently have, and this gives us guidelines for that.
And emergency vehicles are specifically, say, exempted from that necessary analysis.
And just as a matter of fact, actually, Councilman Yeager just worked on a contract that you saw. We did an extensive presentation in a partnership with Enterprise Vehicles that saved the city a significant amount of money over the next, I don't know if it was 5 years or about 5 years. So we're seeing a significant savings, but I'm just saying the actions are kind of already there to judge. We just did that contract with Enterprise. Those vehicles are coming in, some of which are hybrid, some of which are not, but certainly with an emphasis on, yes, when we can have a cleaner, greener vehicle, use it. When it's not a possibility, then it's not a possibility. But in either regard, getting a good piece of equipment in top shape for our city and doing it at an economically responsible way.
I want to make a comment, if I may, Mayor.
Sure.
I totally agree with your caution us to purchase certain vehicles. We're going to have to purchase certain vehicles that is not provided to us by our fleet program. And, maintenance and things like that is important, and I don't think our country is exactly set up the way we need it at this point. And if so, I don't think we need to be sending a vehicle, out of state just because that's the only place that can fix it. And the other thing I want to bring up, 10 years ago, when I used to sit on the other side with, and ask the same questions at the same podium, City Council passed an ordinance, a no idling ordinance. And I asked the council, well, isn't this already a state law? So what's the point of doing this again? And I said, and what's the point of doing this again when the people that are going to be breaking this ordinance are city employees? So I think the most important part of this is the policy that says that vehicles will not be left running idle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was a part of the ordinance back 10 years ago that,
Right.
that this had to be partnership with.
I'd like to comment, just a quick comment, Jules, is that I think the ordinance, it's not the ordinance, this is resolution, is actually pretty well written when it comes to Section E, the exceptions. They have quite a few exceptions in here, which I think keep us out of most of the trouble that we can get in by, following this to the letter of the law. As a matter of fact, one of the exceptions is a public safety vehicle, period. That can be an exception. You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that, Paul. I just hate to see what happens in an emergency situation where the equipment starts to fail. And I don't know how you prepare for that, but I just think I've registered my caution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on resolutions this evening? Seeing none, we can close public comment.
Council, is there anything you'd like to remove from the consent agenda this evening?
Anything we'd like to, go ahead, please.
Yes, Mayor. May I please have 312? I'm sorry, 320, excuse me.
Okay.
Just on 312.
Yeah.
And
Sure, 320. Anything else?
319, please.
Okay.
Anything else, council? Okay.
All right. On the consent agenda this evening, we have 318-12-2023, resolution of the City of Cape May authorizing the award of a cooperative contract with Corn, Maine for meter infrastructure and related supplies through Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System, Contract 10/20-27. 321-12-2023, resolution authorizing a contract for professional services to de Blasio and Associates for fiscal year 2024 NJDOT municipal aid and fiscal year 2023 local transportation project fund for the reconstruction of Ohio Avenue, Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. 322-12-2023, resolution for the payment of bills. 323-12-2023, resolution authorizing the hiring of a parking management system through the competitive contracting process concession.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mulk?
Yes.
All right, back to 319-12-2023, resolution of the City of Cape May adopting a Green Fleet policy.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council?
Yeah, the reason I pulled this, I did have a conversation with our city engineer, Mr. Dietrich, about this, specifically with what you were mentioning, Mr. Mayor, with Enterprise. I think that they need to really look at this before we can approve it, and you basically said, at this point, it's not a problem.
Yeah, we
Look
haven't,
it off.
we've kind of passed it on to them, but we haven't really heard fully back from them, so I think it would be appropriate to table this until we hear back from them on how that would impact our contract with Enterprise.
So are you raising, oh, I'm sorry.
I would just wanted to point out to Councilman Yeager's point that one of the exceptions is a determination that the requirements of this policy would conflict with any of the city's contractual agreements. So if there were a determination that that was somehow unworkable with the current enterprise agreement, there's authorization in here for the city manager, I think, to make a determination to flex so that we don't jeopardize that, the protections of that contract. Just wanted to, that's in there already. And
Right. And there's a little bit of language, too, that I'm a little concerned about. In addition to that, the one thing it's on C, city vehicle purchases. Number 1, the city shall make every effort to obtain the cleanest vehicle possible. And the cleanest vehicle, again, like we were saying, we might want to look at the cleanest alternatives. I mean, there might be some language that we might want to consider a little different in there as well.
So is this language that's being presented to us so that we adhere to New Jersey State for grant money or other funding?
No, this was brought because as part of the best practices review, this was one of the questions that counted towards our score.
Okay.
And so in order for us to answer yes, so that we could make sure that we maintain our, state funding in that compliance, and this policy was developed by looking at models throughout the country, because the state really didn't have a good policy as a model, so we really looked at
Others.
4 or 5, throughout the nation, and kind of pulled them together to fit what I thought fit best for the city's needs.
Okay, so there's flexibility.
Yes, yeah, this is not
Okay, all right.
this is not
So-
a model policy that's promulgated by the state that we have to follow.
All right.
So we do have the
But
flexibility.
we're required to have this.
A policy.
A policy, but we have flexibility in the language and how firm or, I guess,
Yeah.
flexible
That's why
it could be.
we tried to
Okay.
have the exception list that we had, we tried to make it broad enough that gave us that flexibility,
Okay.
whether it's contractual emergency services and the like,
Okay,
to have that
understood.
flexibility.
All right, thank
So
Okay.
I'd make a recommendation, if we could, just table this for now.
you. Want to table this based on just waiting for feedback from
Waiting for
Enterprise?
feedback from them, and then I would like to look at it a little further, because that one area that does bother me, where it talks about the cleanest.
Well,
vehicle.
let's change it then.
Change that
I
if
mean,
you want to.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
let's change it. I mean, it's cleanest in quotations.
I'd like to see the word cleaner alternatives. I mean, I think I could live with
Okay,
that.
okay.
Because I think that looks at fuel, if it's, you're looking at mileage, emissions, things like that.
Council, where exactly are we looking, please?
C, city vehicle purchases number 1. So state that again, Deputy Mayor, that the city shall make every effort.
To obtain a cleaner alternative vehicle, or cleaner alternative vehicles possible as measured by the then existing emission certification standards as published by the manufacturer.
That's fine with me personally.
Is that grammatic?
No, it's not. That's
I was, okay, so say it again and,
I thought I'm a quick speaker.
yeah, go ahead.
The city shall make every effort to attain.
To obtain the clean, you want
Cleanest, I don't think
Okay.
that that's what we're,
A cleaner alternative.
A cleaner
I think
alternative.
so. I think it works.
A cleaner alternative vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaner alternative vehicles.
A cleaner alternative vehicle as measured by,
How about, instead of continuing here, how about we'll work on some alternative language for that paragraph?
Because we
and-
still want to
and
wait
bring
for
it-
feedback just to make
Yes,
sure
so
enterprise.
we're going to
even
bring it
though we
back
have the
anyway. We'll
caveat.
work on some
Right.
language.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to work on our grammar tonight. We'll spend some time.
Bring it back.
On the
Bring it back.
theaters.
Okay.
okay. Do I have a motion to table?
Indefinitely, Council?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
3/20/12/2023, a resolution authorizing a contract for professional services to de Blasio and Associates for reconstruction of Beach Avenue, Broadway to the Cove.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Meyer, I know you wanted to say something.
Is that okay if I?
Yeah, please.
What I said to you before?
Yeah.
This is about paving the portion of Beach Ave, which is not owned by the county. It's from Broadway to the Cove. I think this is the excellent opportunity to somewhat redesign and relook at the Cove area. You know, maybe the best
Bollards?
use of bike
Right.
parking, maybe some bollards so bikes and pedestrians can walk through and cars can do a turnaround. I think
And you're referring to where there right now is kind of that metal guardrail at the end of where everybody loves to take a photograph of our beautiful lighthouse and beach.
and in consideration to also how to promote, you know, our beautiful window to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
You know, and
No,
I think that we all need to keep that in mind.
I totally agree, and I think that should definitely be part of this design that they come up with, and would hope that you would speak with Mr. de Blasio in regards to that.
Absolutely. And anybody else wants to get involved, I'd be happy to work with.
Perfect. And then just for the public's edification, it's kind of odd, but it's not a county. All of Beach Avenue is a county road until Broadway. Broadway to the Cove is city. So to basically piggyback on the contract that exists for the county, the city is doing the engineering that we have to pay for, but we'll be able to use the county's contract that they currently have in place, which should see a significant savings considering that they're already deployed there. They have all the equipment there, a lot of that stuff. So this seems to make a lot of sense. And frankly, we don't want to see a paved road all of a sudden just end and, you know, nothing else has been completed. So this will be part of that project essentially. Okay, with that, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
Now, Council, before we move on to 324, Callie was able to get me the updated numbers
Oh,
for,
great.
I have them here, if you're interested.
Sure, please.
So this is for Resolution 317-12-2023, resolution introducing and approving the 2024 budget of the Washington Street Mall Business Improvement District of the City of Cape May. So she has updated her numbers. The total assessments, so that first line there is actually $68,969.21.
Okay.
The total budget there you see next to 100% is actually $161,272.63.
Okay.
And future capital down at the bottom is actually $34,272.63. So we could amend the exhibit, the budget itself, and also the wording of the resolution, because it does have the total amount. So the total amount would be $161,272.63.
So should we have a motion to amend?
I'll make the motion.
Motion to amend to those numbers?
Second.
Second. Everyone understand what we're amending, obviously, the resolution itself plus the attachment.
Any discussion or ready for roll call?
Any discussion on that, council? All good. Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager,
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Councilmember McDade,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin,
Yes.
and Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
All right, so is there a motion to then introduce and approve as amended?
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager,
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Councilmember McDade,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
And this will come back before council on January 16th.
This is an order. Resolution.
Resolution 317.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on then to 324-12-2023, resolution appointing city manager for the city of Cape May. I do believe you are going to open a public portion, or are we reading this first?
Let's read it first. Do I have a motion on 324?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Are we reading it in full, or would you like to just touch on the important parts?
Yeah, Maureen, go ahead.
Yeah, so just by way of background, the council and the mayor asked Councilman Yeager and I sort of to take the lead in the applicant process. We had approximately 13 applicants. We conducted phone interviews with every person who applied. We completed a questionnaire, brief, high-level questionnaire, introductory, for each of the candidates. That information was shared with council. We had closed sessions in which we discussed the candidates. And so I think that the one thing I would like to state for the public is that this was a very thorough and very well-vetted applicant process. I think we all felt very confident and comfortable in how we went through the process, the discussion on the candidates, and the decision that we came to at the end. So I just wanted to make sure that that was stated publicly, that this was done in the utmost professional manner, and that we took our time in evaluating each individual who came before us.
I'll just add to that, just that I just frankly thank City Council, because we put, of course, Maureen and Mike in charge of kind of that introduction. And just for the public's edification, of course, as a council, we can't meet 3 members at a time, right? So when we have a discussion, 2 council members can discuss, but no more than that. You can't have a majority. So Mike and Maureen were introducing themselves to, I have to say, a really good group of candidates. We attracted some really good people, and I think the city has some credit to that. The people of Cape May, people want this job. So I think we really had a very good candidate pool to look at. And again, I do want to thank council, because every single one of us was involved in that process. Shane and Lorraine were willing to allow 2 other members of council to kind of take the reins, report back to all of us. And I just have to say, to report to the citizens, we had a very democratic process that ultimately resulted in this resolution this evening, and has full support of this council. And I think you put 5 people in any room to come to an important decision, everyone's going to have an opinion, and I think all of those voices were heard, and I'm proud of the process that we went through. And I just want to seriously thank all of you for a very diplomatic, very respectful conversation that we heard from everyone, and everyone collaborated to come to this decision, which is the resolution that, how should we read this? And should we read it in its entirety, or because this is a contract as well, which is pretty boring, which is going to be available to anyone. But I think we should hit the highlights. I will leave that to our solicitor to choose.
Mayor, if you want to announce for council, and then I can go through the details if you like.
Go ahead.
Who?
Okay. So this is to appoint Paul Dietrich as city manager. And I do just say, before reading this, working with Paul since June of this year has just been outstanding. Paul has, one of the reasons the city hired Paul was his outlook on things. What I heard from anyone you spoke to, which I spoke to a lot of people, was that Paul looked at things as an engineer, as a problem solver, didn't really care too much about the political atmosphere of certain things. It was, what can I do to help? And what can we do to solve this problem? Which I think is so important in a city manager. We had a lot of good applications, but I think the cream really rose to the top here. And I'm just excited to see what Paul is going to do for the city of Cape May and continue to do for the city of Cape May. And just a quick background before I read a resolution. Paul and his family who are here this evening, thank you very much for being here. Paul and his family have lived in Cape May County since 1966. He graduated from Ocean City High School and received his Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Northeastern University in Boston, which we won't hold against him. He currently lives in Ocean City with his wife Cindy after raising their 4 children in Dennisville. While in Dennisville, he coached soccer, baseball, street hockey, and served as both the Cub Master and Scout Master for the Boy Scouts of America for over 15 years. And again, just to say, proof is in the pudding. When you work with somebody like Paul, it's hard not to be impressed with your professionalism, your care for the city of Cape May. And I think anyone up here who's had a question for Paul or has had any issues that come up, as they do in any town, Paul has been Johnny on the spot and what can I do to help? So, Paul, I really appreciate your willingness to take on this position. We all know it's a difficult position. You're right in the firing squad, but I think you're the person to do it. So I just thank you very, very much. In regards to the resolution itself, City Solicitor, do you want to read this?
Just everything that council just went over is in the preamble for this. So I'll just read what council is resolving. 1, Paul Dietrich is hereby appointed as city manager for the city of Cape May for a term beginning January 1, 2024 and ending December 31, 2027, and pursuant to the terms of the contract attached. Mr. Dietrich, as city manager, will follow all the requirements of the city's administrative code and applicable sections of the Faulkner Act in performance of his duties as manager. And in consideration for serving as city manager, Mr. Dietrich will receive an annual stipend, $10,000 stipend for serving as city manager. In addition, Mr. Dietrich will continue to receive his annual salary for performing the duties of city engineer. And subject to the terms and conditions of City Code, Faulkner Act, and the attached contract, this resolution will take effect immediately. The appointment will begin January 1, 2024.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments, council?
I think you summed it up very well, Mayor. You did. Welcome.
Okay. Roll call?
We need a motion.
Let's roll call, and any questions we'll answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes. Congratulations, Paul. And
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. It's been a great pleasure working here with the city, and it's been a great council to work with. I enjoyed working with the current city manager, Mike Bowl. I've kind of taken a lot of things that he's doing, so I'm going to try to continue what he's brought forth over these last several years and continue his mission. Working with all the employees. I think the department heads that we have here working for our residents and are doing great things, and I think we can continue moving those things forward. So I think I'm looking forward to this new challenge. I think I hope to continue the good work that you've seen me do. That's kind of what I do. I like, as you said, problem solving is kind of one of the things I like to do, and we have a lot of projects, a lot of big projects that are affecting the city moving forward. I hope to bring on a deputy city manager to help me, supplement what I'm doing and continue the effort and work for the city. So thank you. Thank you for the confidence.
Thank you, Paul. I did open it up for public comment. We'd be happy to hear from anyone and answer any questions.
Good evening. Peter Cole, President of the Taxpayers Association of Cape May. Congratulations, Paul. Absolutely fantastic, very good news. We at the Taxpayers Association very much look forward to working with you in the next year. Our first meeting next year is on the 18th of January, and I believe the agenda might be something like transparency and processes. Also, I'd like to mention, I know that Mike Vole isn't here tonight, but we'd like to thank him also for his service to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Stacy Sheen, Columbia Avenue. I guess my question was, will there be a deputy city manager?
It is the city manager's prerogative, I believe, but he just said that we'd be looking for one, so.
Well, it still comes back to council to decide to give him one or not. So, it's still in council's.
No, it's in the ordinance. He can pick it as a city manager on his own without city council.
He can pick it, but I think the city still has to say if he has one or not. It comes to city's vote.
I mean, if you're asking a question on that, I'd be happy if he did. Personally, the city manager role in the city of Cape May has become such a significant role and such an important one. To leave it all on one person, I think, is really difficult, especially Paul within this contract is still being paid as engineer. And so he's still fulfilling the same roles that he's filling today. So he's going to have a lot of work. And I really think it's important for the city, as anyone knows, a good city manager and a good deputy to help that person out is invaluable, and especially in regards to grants and all kinds. I mean, frankly, they can pay for themselves tenfold, which I know Paul has already started. So,
and I second that. I think it's important. Paul and I have had this conversation. I'm very supportive of him having a deputy manager. The role that he fulfills in the city engineer, just in the short time he's been here, has proven the need for someone in that role. And the fact of what we have going on right now in projects and those that are coming, his expertise and qualifications need to still be guiding those, but having someone to be able to do to offshoot some of the heavier lift for those will be important. So it's one of the things that he and I talked about when he expressed an interest in applying for this position. I really did want to understand what he saw as the structure, and we're continuing to have those conversations because I don't think that this is a one-person job, not for the city the way it is currently or what it will be in the future.
Yeah, I think all the Cape May County municipalities, or I think no one else has a deputy in the county. I think we're the only one that has a deputy city manager that only started maybe, 6 years ago? Before that, we never had a deputy. My other question is he still floodplain manager and, I guess, housing liaison?
You can ask him if you want.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was part of his job things. Okay.
As well as GIF Fund Commissioner.
What was it? The GIF Fund?
Commissioner.
Okay. And
I just to follow up on this deputy city manager, I spoke to most of council about the issue. I plan on involving them in that selection process, even though I think ordinance says I can select it, but I made the commitment to council to work with them to to really so that they can understand who I'm trying to select to help me move it forward. So I will be involving city council in making that selection.
Now, you mentioned that he's the city engineer. We also have Vince Orlando as a city engineer. So we're still keeping Vince Orlando as the city engineer?
Well, reorg is coming up soon, so we'd have to make that decision, but he is today.
Right, okay.
But just to be clear, there's no salary for that. That's just simply project-oriented engineers that we hire.
My other question has to do with, does Mr. Dietrich, is he going to have other jobs outside of being the city, Cape May City city manager and engineer? And
That might be a question for the solicitor, but I know he's going to be really busy.
Nothing that would conflict with his city duties. He's taking on a lot with the city manager position, and he's already doing a lot for the city. So I think
Yeah.
Mr. Dietrich's going to be plenty busy.
Well, I just wondered, because sometimes the council can say you can't have any other jobs outside of your role as a city manager, and that's why I was asking.
Yeah, the same personnel policy that applies to the manager applies throughout to all the employees. You know, outside employment doesn't interfere with your city duties.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on this specific resolution? City manager?
Thanks. I'm still Dennis Crowley, 806 Lafayette Street.
As long as we don't have to tell you who you are in the future.
For the foreseeable future. Most of you know me, and you know I've been around in a lot of different capacities, in and out of the city government, sometimes not very welcome, other times I hope I was productive. And I want to just elevate this resolution and my comments to maybe a 10,000-foot level, because, and I cast no aspersions on anyone, and Mike Vold did a great job as a stopgap city manager, and he's to be commended for that. But I think I want to say this to the council. I think the council has finally learned what form of government we're operating under. And this appointment is a professional city manager who's going to be a city manager and is going to do exactly what he's supposed to do in an environment where the council is going to do exactly what they're supposed to do. That form of government's been around for a long time, and I want to commend you folks for finally understanding what that looks like on the ground. So nice job.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Dennis. Anyone else on the city manager appointment resolution? Seeing none, we'll close public comment on that. We'll come back to public comment. Any old business, city council? Any new business, city solicitor?
Tonight, Mayor.
City manager-elect, I guess you could say. And engineer, any new business?
No, I covered it earlier. Thank you.
Okay, city clerk?
So as many of you might be aware, the city's phone lines are currently down, unfortunately, as of Friday. But good news is that we are still on target for the new phone system to be installed this Thursday, the 7th. So hopefully this will be short-lived. In the meantime, some calls are getting through to one line that we are monitoring, but if anybody wants to reach out to the city, email truly is best. If you cannot reach out via email, we're trying to monitor that one line and responding to as many calls as we can. So we just ask for your patience. But hopefully, as of Thursday, that problem will be solved. And that's it, Mayor.
Okay. All right. Councilwoman McDade?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Councilman, who are we on here? Deputy Mayor?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Councilman Meyer?
Yes, I do have something. I would still like the city council to consider putting transferable and non-transferable as small as possible on the tags, just to remind people that, you know, these beautiful tags that these kids made are transferable, maybe not the veteran one, but, or non-transferable. I just want to make sure that people are aware of that. The second thing I want to bring up is, you know, I'm so thankful that Chris and the Shade Tree Commission are doing all that work for the ordinance. You know, I think our goal right now is to put this out there, and there may be some additions in the future, but I think it's important to move forward in the beginning of the year with this as soon as possible, and as soon as the commission is prepared to send it to our table. And finally,
Do you think we'll have that for next council meeting, or?
I don't,
I'm just curious, it's not.
I don't think so, just
Okay.
because we don't want to begin the introduction process before the end of the year. So what, ideally have a discussion, hopefully a final discussion next Shade Tree Commission meeting, and then sometime early in
That makes
2024.
sense.
right.
Okay.
And then finally, I just want to talk about, you know, what an amazing week we've had. This was, you know, the firehouse, the Christmas tree lighting, unfortunately it rained. I didn't feel good. I'm sorry I didn't show up. But the Christmas parade was amazing. You know, it's what a wonderful thing that we have with a city or a borough of West Cape May. I want to give my special thanks to all the police officers that kept us safe, all the firefighters that were involved, the fire police, and one person came up to me the other day, and she just could not stop talking about how great of a job the Public Works did at cleaning up right after the parade, especially in our Cape May side where there's not as much grass. I just want to thank everybody that was part of that.
Thank you.
I just want to add that whatever amount of candy we ordered, I'd like to see it tripled. So if somebody could make a note, because when you get to the last couple blocks and you don't have any candy for the kids, it's really, it's just and that's not what they want.
They're not here to just watch us wave. Councilman Yeager?
No, nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I just want to first say thank you to City Manager Vole. Of course, he'll be here for the next council meeting, but he got stuck at a meeting tonight. But I just want to thank him for all of his hard work, and not just here in Cape May. 16 years as mayor in in Middle Township and Lower Township City Manager. So we'll be looking forward to giving him a very nice goodbye at our next council meeting. But Mike just did a tremendous job, and I know Paul has some big shoes to fill. So, but we're happy to have you aboard, Paul. The Kiwanis Club Park, 3 o'clock on Sunday. We'll be having a little ribbon cutting, but really Santa Claus is coming. So if you have any kids, come on by to Kiwanis Club Park, 3 o'clock on Sunday, and that's right after the Fedorov Community Christmas event at Convention Hall at noon. So that starts at noon, goes till 3. I think our police chief might say something about that, but right after that, following that, will be the ribbon cutting of Kiwanis Club Park. Santa Claus will be there. Bring the kids. It should be a lot of fun. Also, I just want to echo really what Shane said. The fire police volunteers, the police, the firefighters, and especially, like you said, the Department of Public Works I thought they looked like they were part of the end of the parade, cleaning up what was a large amount of trash. I just want to thank everyone involved. Rotary Park just looked out of the park this year. Really looked great. So thank you to the Department of Public Works for a lot of hard work. And I just want to thank everyone who was involved with the firehouse ribbon cutting. Really couldn't have gone any better. Beautiful, wonderful to see so many people supportive, and so many community members come out to support our firefighters. Really awesome. So thank you. With that, we'll open it up for public comment. Chief, did you have something you wanted to add? Sure. Okay. And I said this at the firehouse meeting, but I do want to say it again. A special thank you to the police for their cooperation throughout this entire thing. They couldn't have been more professional. So we're really hoping and pushing to get this DEP approval for their building to be next. As many of you know, we've already bonded for that. So we'd really like to start that process up as soon as possible. And as soon as we get state approval, we're going to. With that, we'll open it up to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name and address.
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. I was happy to attend the ribbon cutting for the firehouse, but I would like to suggest, frankly, that the city have an as-built done so we know exactly where that building is relative to the ground, that the contractor supply in cooperation with the architect a full set of plans that are completely certified and have those become a permanent record in the city, not just sitting somewhere in the back of a truck. We need to pay attention, frankly, to the quality and quantity of our record keeping, and I think it's important that that step be made. I'm a bit concerned, frankly, and would also suggest that we have somebody take an inspection or take an observation of that building using the plans as a background, not just accepting the architect to review his own work, an independent engineer that is designed to do that kind of work, to certify to the city that what we got is what we planned for and are paying for.
And we have done that all the way along with Skip Hoffman, or excuse me, Skip Hoflopsel, who submitted a monthly report all the way through the project. I mean, very detailed photographs, everything.
Well, I don't know what his qualifications are, but I'm speaking in terms of a professional engineer that does this work, this kind of work as an employment, not just somebody, a local contractor.
He's not just a local contractor.
Okay,
He's done
I
commercial.
don't have any ideas what his qualifications. I would look to Mr. Dietrich to make that judgment, but I think it would be very worthwhile for the city to have that kind of an inspection and make sure that we get the certifications from the contractor, along with, I don't know what the warranty is, but I think that should be spelled out as to what his callback procedures will be so that the city has an understanding of what will happen when and if. And I'm sure that our solicitor has prepared in the documents that there'll be the necessary release of liens signed by the various subcontractors and major suppliers. I think we need to make sure, this is a big project, and we're going to have followed up with another one, that we have a procedure that is consistent with what these projects require. I've had that experience, and I know it's important to be done because it will take and save a lot of problems in the future if there are issues. So that is my recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Roush. I only say that I think, and I just want the people to know this because you bring up those issues, which are all important issues. And I know you're not saying it didn't happen, but I just want to reinforce that it did. I think Lorraine Baldwin and I, the Deputy Mayor, attended over, I think, 60 meetings, all minutes kept. I'm saying 60 because it'd say meeting number 62. So I just want to be clear that we had meetings every 2 weeks, if not every week, getting toward the end of the project. And those were all the recorded meetings. Prior to those recorded meetings, of course, were meetings getting ready for the whole task force, which were open to the public. Anybody could come and when we were formulating the plans and things like that. So I just want to be clear that there was a lot of time and effort put into the process, as well as hiring an outside consultant to do exactly that. And frankly, they did. They each week, the report was full of what they thought should be better, and as a result, were corrected along the way. It was not simply, here's what these people did over the last 2 weeks. It was, here's what these folks did over the last 2 weeks. Here's where we see issues coming forward. And I will say what was important, too, along this process was with the material shortage across the country, making sure that orders were being put in. And so it was detailed. I just make sure you know that. Also know that there was multiple engineers involved in the project. Yes, our own engineer and Vince Orlando, of course, Paul Dietrich, but also, and forgive me for forgetting his name right now, but the engineer hired by the architect, Rob Conley, who all were reviewing each other's work throughout the project. So I do just stress to the community that, frankly, there was a lot of duplication of review throughout the whole process. And frankly, I think it shows in the project as it stands. Any other comments? What's his name?
I remain Dennis Crowley, 806 Lafayette Street. Sorry to monopolize the agenda, but I haven't been around lately, so I got a lot of things I got to catch up on. Talking about Lafayette Street, it's the only thing in Cape May that could have been described as disgraceful. It's a mess. And from Colliers to the harbor, you will be able to count over 100 holes cut into that road over the last 30 years. That's a disgrace. And that project is going to fix that, we hope. Now, my concern at this point, though, is, and I don't know if anybody's thought about it, I hope they have, is there going to be a moratorium on cutting that road open for X number of years so that we don't start the pattern of cutting in and ruining what's going to be a fabulous project.
So I think
we don't. My comment is, if we don't have one, we better have one.
We do have one. It's on the books, and I think the solicitor can probably read from it. But
Actually, that's a county road, so the county does have a moratorium for 5 years, so.
5 years?
Yeah, that's,
and
so our ordinance wouldn't necessarily cover that because it's a county road.
All right.
But I think to your point, Dennis, there was a lot of cuts into that road.
There's over 100.
Right.
Literally over 100.
So I think it's important. I think my understanding is the county's pretty
strict.
Very strict.
They're very strict.
So I really don't think we're going to have that problem for the first 5 years at least.
Okay.
But
I think just to short circuit any kind of backlash, the city ought to make that very public. That road's going to be that way for under county edict for at least 5 years.
When the residents are notified, generally it comes in a letter.
They are.
Because I was going to say, I know in Pennsylvania, we were absolutely notified in advance.
I didn't get a letter.
No, okay.
And I'm going to cut a hole in that road if I don't get no. Thanks. Just keep it nice.
Yep, absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, motion, go ahead.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your baby. I just want to say, Solicitor Gillen Schwartz.
That's nice.
Okay, now that's out of the way, the nice things.
Excuse me, could you please state your name?
Oh, yes,
and
Trish Tarnavy, 719, 721 Franklin Street. Well, I just want to tell you, I just listened to Mr. Crowley, and he said, well, I think the residents are notified. I was not down here for the parade because it's a little bit too much for me, but I didn't rent my side. I didn't know that they were building a 20-foot trench in front of my house. I didn't know that you couldn't get into my property from Franklin Street. Nobody told me. And I remember, Mr. Mayor, keep me in the loop. I think you might remember that I said, please let me know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think you failed. Because the one thing that you have the firehouse across from me, you had the church, you have this. I know I'm only one resident on that block. I'm one person in Cape May, and I know you have a lot of people in Cape May. I'm one person, and I have one house there. But I guess I don't matter, because that's exactly how I felt when I saw all this mess in front of my house, and today I went to go into my house, or Saturday, to clean after my people were there, or Monday, whatever it was, and I couldn't get up my street. All it would have taken was one email to say, I just want you to know that you can't get onto your street, from one person on council, from one person from the city manager's office. And you know what? I know a lot of you personally. Had you just one person said that, it would have been wonderful. So I could have told my renters, so I would have known. And now I'm going to go to my next thing. Now I understand that I went to I watch every meeting that you have, zoning, planning. I watch every meeting online. Now, I know I haven't been here in a while because I can't get here all the time. But I just watched HPC record a resolution for the demolition of the property next door to me. Do you think somebody would have said your property within 10 feet is going to be demolished? How can I trust you? How can I trust any single person on this entire board? What if you lived in the property that I do? What if I had a tour? Sometimes I actually have a tour on that first weekend when the parade happens. What if my house is on the tour? It's on the tour on the third week of December. And actually, in previous years, I've had a tour in my house because it is on the candlelight tour. Would somebody not come to me and say, we just want you to know this is what's going on? But not one of you, not anybody on this council even had the courtesy to email me or text me, those of you who have my number, and say, we just want you to know this is going on. How do you think I feel about Cape May? How do you think I feel about any of you now?
You should feel pretty good.
You know
to be
what?
honest
Let me go.
You should feel pretty good, because I got to tell you, we're putting a ton of money and effort
I understand that.
into this location, and I think it's going to be wonderful.
Mayor, I understand that, but that's in the future. I'm talking about the here and now that
Well, we
you
just
dug
had
up
a
my
wonderful
street.
ribbon cutting last week of a beautiful firehouse.
I understand.
We leave the lights on to a beautiful library that's going to be second to none in the state.
Mayor, I know that. I dealt with the construction of your firehouse that you say, that you talk about. I understand about the cement trucks going on at 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning. I absolutely understand about the beautiful firehouse. I have no issue about that because I worked with that more than you did. Trust me. And I know all the firemen. I know Chief Calder. I know every fireman in there. I bring them cookies. I bring them pizza. I do a lot for those firemen. I miss them. But I will tell you, so you don't have to tell me about your fire company. I know about that fire company. I suffered with that fire company more than the fire guys did because I'm right across the street from it. Right across the street. And the one thing I asked you is keep me in the loop. Did I not say that? And Mr. Vall said, yes, we will. And one time he came to me, and one email I got through the entire, entire construction that you did. And I just want to know, going forward, Mr. Gillenschwartz and the new city mayor, going forward, could you please let me know what's going on? Because like I said, I have the tour that's coming onto my property. And my house is nice. I've invited you a couple times to come over and see how beautiful it is in that house. But I had that tour during the parade, during, the first weekend, my God, who could get up there? So, when you talk about the firehouse, yes, you did have the ribbon cutting. But, and I did suffer through that, and across the street too, from the library. They've done a lot of work in that library. There's a lot of noise that goes on. And I am the person that's there.
Excuse me, counsel, it has been 5 minutes.
5 minutes, I know. So I just ask you to keep me in the loop, and that's all I have to say.
So
I have a question, if I may.
Please,
Mayor.
go ahead.
It's to Mr. Dietrich. I don't know when that road. No one ever tells
we
me
don't.
when that road.
I don't know either. We as a council approve bids, and we do so in a public way. We had a presentation, frankly, on Franklin Street from Vince Orlando, and have had multiple updates on several city streets. I don't know when they're going to start. Now, the city manager, I would assume, would know, but sometimes it's days ahead of time or the day of. a lot of times, depending on the traffic patterns and what someone said, so the person who's doing it now is the same person who's working on Lafayette Street. They started it. Now, they're changing out basically the utilities underneath of the ground to make sure that anyone in the neighborhood is going to have new utilities. But the city council is not informed of the day-to-day operations of who's getting a pipe taken out of the street and who isn't. I didn't get it, none of you got it. And so to like cast blame and call us like dishonest is just, I'm sorry, it's not appropriate. None of you were informed of it. I wasn't informed of it. But I will tell you this on a more general basis. We are doing a lot of construction throughout town, and it is a nuisance. I completely understand that. But if you saw the condition of your pipes in Franklin Street, you'd be saying, please replace those pipes. And that's what we're doing. And we're doing that on Lafayette Street.
Right.
And frankly, I didn't send a lot of emails to individuals on Lafayette Street. We did it on Pennsylvania Avenue. We did it, look, I'm not going to name every street in town. As you know, if you go around town right now, there's a ton of streets that are closed. But I wish we could email every person every time that something's happening. I do. And frankly, when you say it up here and it makes sense, I wish we could. But it just doesn't work that way a lot of times. And you know, I will say every time we do these projects, they come before this table. We do public notice. You have the agenda published on Friday. It's on live stream. We truly don't want this hidden. This is your tax dollars. We want it spent in an open and honest and transparent way. And again, I do wish that you were informed of this, and that'll be another conversation. But looking at this street, I have to say, Franklin Street was awarded a $600,000 grant between, I believe it was 600, I might be wrong about that, but between Lafayette Street and Washington Street. That is going to be probably the prettiest street in town with brick crosswalks, gas lights, brick gutter. I don't know, what do you call it on the side of the street? The gutter? The brick guttering. I mean, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So I do ask for a little bit of patience and understanding in that. And I think we're showing the results. Look at the firehouse. It looks beautiful. Look at the progress of the library. It looks beautiful. You mentioned the AME Church. We can't move forward and tell you that it's going to be demolished until we get approval to do so. By the way, we still have to go through SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office. They could say no, and then we've alerted you to something that's not going to occur. So we have to go through HPC. They unanimously approved it. It has to go before SHPO. Then it has to be bid out for demolition. And at that time, you certainly will be told. But just even outside of that, look at what that building is. It's a falling apart, decrepit building right next to your house. And we want to improve it. So I hope you understand our goal is to improve the whole neighborhood, the street, the utilities underground, and everything above ground as well. I hope that answers your question.
I just want to say thank you to everybody in Cape May and Lafayette Street for being patient with us. You know, living on Lafayette Street, you don't know when you wake up in the morning if they're going to be blocking your driveway. And I know people have had issues getting to doctors' offices and things like that. So thank you for your patience. And I'm sure Dennis knows more about it than I do. But and it's going to happen.
Live on it.
It's going to happen again on Washington, and it's going to happen again on Beach Ave. And we're all in this together. It's affecting most of us.
Yeah, but look at what we're going to have at the end result.
Any other public comment?
Stacy Shane, Columbia Avenue. My question has to do with the demolition of that CCM building. If that becomes a parking lot, is that a change of use that has to come before the board for being a building to be in a parking lot? Just a question.
What board?
Council, I'm sorry.
Go to.
Is that a change of use that has to go before?
Any board, I guess any board or council before it can be demolished and made into a parking lot. That's just a question I had.
It had to go before HPC?
Not for the demolition. We'll evaluate any and all other, we'll get any and all other permits that are necessary
For future use?
future use.
I guess my question comes down to, I had asked the question before to council that, is the council going to follow all the rules of the zoning and planning board for these buildings, such as additions and everything for the AME Church and for demolition? I said yes, and I just want to make sure that Trish is kept in, since she is that close, she should be notified when things are going on in that manner, and I want to make sure that we were going to the proper
It
channel
would have to be a resolution to demolish, is that correct?
for a city building.
For a city building, like we did with, around the corner, St. John Street?
Yeah, you'd have, you have to approve a plan for that. So what you want to do with that is something that council would decide. And if you want to demo it, ultimately, that would be something this council would decide.
Council would see a resolution to authorize the demolition. There would also be a notification as part of a demolition permit, any demolition permit within the city, the neighboring property.
I guess my question is then, it went before the HPC already to be demolished, right? But yet council never put in a resolution to demolish that building.
Because it's not,
We're not
because
at
they
that
can't.
We don't
They
have
can't, we don't have approvals to
approval
demolish,
yet.
so they can't do a resolution to demolish it.
Okay, I just didn't know, I was just asking how the process goes, that if it goes from
we were
council
to-
first to
Let me just say, if
HPC?
we were to have a resolution on the agenda to demolish it, people would have went insane because we don't have approvals to do it. So we're following the right process.
I'm not, Zach, I'm just asking what the process is. I wasn't sure how it went, who went to first, because to get on the HPC, somebody had to put it there, and I wasn't sure how it got put there if council never passed a resolution to put it there.
There's two steps.
That's my question.
Can you take it down? And then what do you do with it? We haven't even got past, can you take it down? That's what we're at with it.
Well, I didn't know if council even discussed taking it down.
Well, it's a concept. It's not happening tomorrow. Would the HPC approve the concept of taking it down? Would SHPO approve the
And
concept? of-
let me just be clear,
I
this
just-
concept wasn't out of thin air. It was presented to council in a public meeting.
So the city already put an application into SHPO to demolish this building?
They're working on it based off
We're
of
in
the
the
approval.
process. We received HPC approval. We have to wait to get the resolution and recommendation from HPC before we can submit that to SHPO. So
But
we
doesn't-
can't do that.
Okay, I
It's a
just sat
process.
through the training from the state for the HPC, right? Because of what,
And-
because the city demolished the building they weren't supposed to on St. John Street. My question is, in that process, I just went through that training, they said that they look at the resolutions coming from council.
They look at
And
all
that-
public input, but what they need to make their comment is they need the recommendation from the HPC.
Not from council, just HPC.
Correct.
Okay, that's not what I got from the training, but I might have just misunderstood it. Thank you.
Look, just to be clear, if we were to pass a resolution that said demolish that before SHPO approval, we would be doing it out of order. Just to be clear, SHPO wants to see it before we approve it, and then go from there. And then again, remember, the next thing would be bidding to demolish the project, the property, which again would go through a long process, as you all are aware. Any other public comment? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Again, congratulations, Paul Dietrich and the Dietrich family. Thank you very much for being here. The time is,
6:47.
thank you, 6:47.
I actually wanted to say a little more, but he said it for me. It's gonna-